you are then able to do certain products for your customers that the customer needs, right? Otherwise, without data, you can't tell what my product is, right? Yeah. I mean, think of TikTok, for example. Think of Facebook. What do they do best? They mine your data. Edward's Facebook landing page and mine are very different. Why? They know his profile, they know my profile. All right? So what are they doing? Data mining. That's what they are doing, guys. So it's high time, even us as organizations inside this room, take advantage of that in terms of data analytics. And Safaricom is fantastically squared as your partner to help you do that. Because remember, beyond M-Pesa, we can be able to develop solutions for you that will help you take advantage of that opportunity to address customer changing behaviors. I know I'm taking beyond my time probably. Allow me, I'll be done in another few minutes. Another area I need to ask you is in terms of changing customer habits, which I have mentioned to you. And my third point around tool set and how you're taking advantage of technology. Today, every SACCO, we were in a SACCO forum, I think in December in Mount Kenya, and then we did another one in Kisumu, January. Guess the biggest challenge in the room? Huh? Guess. Cyber. Yes, I know that's the thought on your mind. Cyber attack. That was the biggest discussion in the room. Because last year, quite a number of SACCOs were hacked. Okay? And it's a fact. We sometimes put those things under the cover because we don't want to shout that we were hacked because we are afraid that we might lose customer deposits and we will appear like we are not securing their environment. But it's a fact. So you need to ask yourself, how am I securing my business? How am I securing my business? And that's something that we as Safaricom are happy and open to discuss with you. From doing basic things like vulnerability testing in your environment, we can do that. To all managed SOC, where we allow you to just do your basic financial services and we manage the entire environment end to end. So one of the things we need to ask ourselves, even if you, as you sit in this room, think through the things I'm asking and I'm telling you, and ask yourself, how am I taking advantage? Even for those of you with mobile banking, we have IMSI solution that allows that someone cannot do a SIM swap before you know, usually when people are hacking, they will do the SIM swap first. So that is a solution that, that addresses that. So speak to us, because then that helps you be able to be ready for the digital revolution. Now, as I can see Ian is there. As I finish, remember this, guys. And I'm going to ask us to just lift one hand, just like this. Just like this. No, in an angle like this. Like this. Yeah. That's an uphill. That is uphill, okay? Lift your hand like an uphill, okay? Remember, thank you. Why I've asked you to do that is so that you remember in your mind. Nobody in this world, even Elon Musk, has ever slided to success. Nobody. Nobody has ever slided to success. Success is uphill. It's effort, sweat, hard work. Do we all agree? Please remember that. So even as we come to you as Safaricom, nothing is going to be easy. We will need to work with it together to address the opportunities we see, make sure that you are able to take advantage, secure your environments to protect yourselves and your customers, as well as be able to scale as an organization. And with that, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Help me appreciate John Mosheri one more time. The round of applause. Thank you so much. We appreciate the keynote address on the future. SACCO is digital. When I saw John telling him, after preaching that good Safaricom gospel. So thank you. And it's from Liquid Intelligent Technologies. If they're here, if they can kindly just rise to their feet. I've seen senior sales managers like Catherine. The team from Liquid, if they can just kindly rise so that we can appreciate them. Mr. Kaleli, help me appreciate them with a round of applause. Santi Sana, we're glad to have you here. They're one of our sponsors, and also they have the booth out there. I believe that during tea break and the in-between, we can be able to just go and visit their booth. They have some nice gifts for us, and we appreciate that. All right, so our next discussion is going to be on resilient digital transformation. And the man to take us through this has over 10 years experience in this particular field, and he's skilled in product lifecycle management process, ownership, product research and development training, contract SLA management, partner provider negotiation and management, and also in product marketing. He's a man who is well versed. I've had the privilege and honor of also working very closely under his leadership. His contact still remains in my curriculum vitae, so that he can be able to help me even as I advance my career. As a man that I love and respect, he's currently the executive head for cloud and cybersecurity at Liquid Intelligent Technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, help me appreciate with a warm round of applause Richard Muthua as he comes to the platform to take us through the next session. Thank you so much, Richard. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Ian. Good morning, all. Are we enjoying ourselves? Are we ready to get taught or learn new things and hear about things that maybe you've heard of, but you've not gotten a chance to expound further? So, very quickly, my name is Richard, as introduced by Ian. Thank you very much. And I look after cloud and cybersecurity for Liquid Intelligent Technologies. So we've known Liquid as a telco. We have been a telecommunication organization. We have done that very well. And Ian, technology is failing. Good. So we have been a telco for over 14 years now, trading in Africa. We are a fully African company, started in Zimbabwe. Last year we transformed because change is constant. It's the only thing that keeps on happening. So we became Liquid Intelligent Technologies. The reason we did that is because we realized the market needs that change. The market is changing, the market has been shifting. So Liquid Intelligent Technologies means we move from being a telco to a fully fledged technology service provider, end to end. And we are doing that because we've done the connectivity business very well. We've done 100,000 kilometers of fiber across Africa. We are the only providers to cross from Eastern Africa into the West Coast. What you see there in the purple color, this is all our fiber. And I think the important thing is that we managed to get out of East Africa into the Western Africa or West Coast as the only provider crossing the Congo River. Very challenging, I would say, endeavor, but we did it successfully. Now, after building this whole infrastructure, then we decided let's add value to this infrastructure. And that is where we became a technology service provider. So today, there are a couple of facts and things that we know as SACCOs go and basically the enterprise goes. The first thing is that digitization is not a choice anymore. Digitization is about survival. If you're not going to digitize as an organization, then your survival is limited. Again, it's about being competitive. All organizations are built to stay competitive, be competitive, and win in the business. There's no organization that's built not to win. And we are also looking at compliance. If we go straight to SACCOs right now, you've got compliance requirements from SASRA, from the government. You need to report in a certain way, for example. Without digital transformation or digitization, that will not happen, so you become non-compliant. We also know that as you digitize, your attack surface grows. So digitization includes automation, it includes bringing new technologies, it includes enabling your people to work from anywhere, it includes bringing in partners to your cyber assets. It means if you had this big attack surface, then as you digitize, it grows because you have more openings to the world. Cyber breaches are no longer a question of if. It's all about when. So you will get breached at some point in your existence as a business. That is almost a guarantee. So lack of resilience basically is fatal to businesses. We know about 60 to 70, they get breached. Right? So you get breached and you're not able to come back. Technology, representation across the organization, being very limited. We engage with board members, we engage with managing directors, we engage with across board, and most of them are not able to elaborate what really technology is coming to do for your business. So that is a fact that is there. If you go to a board of a SACCO, very few of them maybe would be able to elaborate. What does cyber security, cyber resilience, or digital transformation mean to the business? The buck stops with the CEO. And what that means is, as you look at digital transformation, as you look at technology, as you look at cyber security, cyber resilience, it's no longer about the IT manager. It's no longer about the CIO. It is a business conversation. It is a conversation that goes to the board level. It's a conversation that we've seen. It's about the life of your business. It is not the CIO's responsibility to keep your business alive. It's a board conversation. It's a CEO conversation. So this is an interesting fact that I've put in there. Engaging with SACCOs and several organizations, financial organizations growing across Africa, not in Kenya. So on average, you will find sitting within your organization, you have, and this is to CIOs, at least 3 core applications sitting on a shared server within your offices. Now, we will definitely immediately realize that if you lose this server, then your organization is rendered inoperational. It's a fact. And I know some of us seated in here are connecting very well with it. So business resilience, if you are resilient as a business, then it means you have happy customers. And in this case, more specific to the SACCOs, you have happy members. So when you have your IT resources, when you've employed your IT managers, CIOs, and they're handling things that they shouldn't be handling, or things that don't add value to your balance sheet, things that don't bring money to you as an organization, you're making them inefficient. We will see how to get them efficient. It's a fact. Technology is complex, technology is fast, and technology is dynamic. So the moment you start engaging in looking at technology as a business and the technical stuff as a business, then you will very quickly start losing time for your core business. So we will look at how we will manage that. So 95%, and this is from NCA, National Cybersecurity Alliance, of the breaches that happen within organizations are basically exploiting human error. It's not about the systems being bad, it's not about the wrong systems, it's about the human beings. So that's a very important factor in all this. Attacks from within are probably the most fatal to businesses. The reason is if I attack you from within, I know you very well, I know all your secrets, so there's very little that you can do to protect yourself because I'm already inside. More than 77%, again, this is NCA, of organizations do not have a cyber breach response mechanism or plan or strategy in place. So if something happens today, you have no plan, you start reacting immediately. Case in point is you get a ransomware attack and you start reacting then there is no way that you will get helped. Definitely you will lose money. So digital transformation, to me or to us, this is how digital transformation looks like. There are some words there that probably are scary, or some words that people might not want to see. But if you look at digital transformation, what I'm trying to portray here is that it is complex, it is taxing, it is risky, if not handled properly. 106 million in 7 months sounds familiar to any of you. Delayed dividends, no compliance fines, you have to pay fines in case you're not compliant. Services are not running, you end up having very unhappy customers. So this is how digital transformation looks like if not handled properly, if not resilient. But how does resilient business transformation look like? And resilience here means business resilience. You have to be resilient as a business because, as I said, at some point you will get breached. There's no 100% protection when it comes to cybersecurity. So we bring in the conversation around making this digital transformation resilient. And the only way to do that is basically, before you go anywhere, you start by building resilience. In your cyber assets, in your business processes, in your operations, you build resilience. That is what we do. And from there, you start going up the ladder. So in building resilience, we are talking about assessing what you have. We're talking about looking at the loopholes that are there. We're talking about the risks that you have from a cyber point of view. And on top of that, as I said, very important, people, the training and awareness, making sure that you have a bigger army. It is very good to invest in the best cyber defense systems, but the worst mistake that happens is not investing in your people. So if your people are not fully aware, if your receptionist, for example, is not aware of the threats that can come to her, if even the person serving you tea in the office is key in your cybersecurity strategy and success. If they are not aware, those are the people that we will come and use as ethical cyber criminals, to say it that way. They will use such weak links in that chain, and they will use those people to compromise your network, to compromise your business and your processes. So training is key, and that is offered as building the resilience from a foundational point of view. And as we go along, we will definitely need connectivity. Connectivity is there, but does it have intelligence? Now, we look at adding intelligence into that connectivity that you are building. So that journey goes upway, and someone is trying to breach my remote. Is it you, Ian? Yeah, doctors get sick sometime. Okay. Yeah, so as we change that, we're just talking about this journey, so bringing resilience in the digital transformation. So if you don't have resilience, then your digital transformation might turn fatal to your business. Yeah, either through losing money, through losing brand equity, and we all know losing brand equity is as good as closing down your business. And in this case, for SACCOs, we're looking at members. We're looking at members coming to you and saying, we want to withdraw everything that we have, because we know someone has lost money within your organization. So we're looking at how do we make sure that as we transform, as we change your business, there's resilience built in there. We anticipate for the known threats, the unknown threats, and we prepare for them. I hope I'll get my 30 minutes back.
Want a safe, reliable platform to establish and maintain important professional relationships? One Voice for Operator Connect, powered by Liquid Intelligent Technologies, is the perfect cloud telephony solution to answer all your communication problems. If you're already invested in the Microsoft ecosystem, One Voice for Operator Connect is a quick and easy way to get calling while eliminating hardware costs. One Voice allows your business to adapt to the remote work model without compromising communication quality. It empowers you to set your own answering rules, check voicemails and messages, and review your call activity from anywhere, all in just a few clicks. One Voice, bringing people closer.
Okay, thank you. Apologies for that mishap, but I believe CIO is very resilient. We managed to come out of that alive. So we were talking about the journey, and this is how we clean up the digital transformation by making it resilient. So we start by building resilience. So cyber resilience isn't only about cyber security. It's about how resilient your business becomes as it grows into the digital space, how resilient your business becomes as the market changes, how resilient are your operations as you bring in new technologies. So once we do that, then we start going into the basics. We bring you connectivity, building connectivity, putting intelligence in the connectivity, making sure that when you have gone digital and your people are working from anywhere, we've all known COVID has caused people to accelerate in digital transformation. A lot of breaches have happened. They've grown over 300% if you look at a lot of other researches by FBI, NCA, and all that. We've seen 300% in growth around cyber threats or breaches within the COVID period. So it means as we grow into the digital transformation, as we connect you, it's about securing that change. It's about building resilience in that change. And after that, now we come into how do we manage your data? Each and every operation in a business has data in, data out. How do you make sure that you manage that data? And we look at things like compliance, we look at protecting your data, we look at protecting your business, we look at protecting your clients. So there comes things like cloud and collaboration solutions where we keep your data, we process your data, communication solutions where you make sure that you get value in what you invest in using things like Operator Connect and all those. And as you go through that value chain, we get to a point where everything becomes as and when you need. So everything as a service. We've spoken about how your CIO, how your IT manager needs to add value to your business. Right now, as an IT manager, if I walk into a CFO's office, the first thing that the CFO is going to do is to wonder, how much do I need this time? As that is what happens generally. So IT departments, IT business units are looked at as cost centers. Now, the idea of everything as a service, managed services, brings in value into the IT department. Number one, in making sure that as a business, if you have an IT department, you make them focus in adding value on your operations. So you do not have to get them looking at wires, cables, and why systems are up or down. This is done by the back end. It is done by the service provider. That is what we mean by everything as a service. Now, what will your IT manager be doing? They will be looking at your internal processes. They will be looking at how does HR work with finance? How long do we take to pay our dividends, for example, going to SACCOs? How long do we take to resolve issues when it comes to the operational level agreements between departments? And that is how everything as a service comes in to resolve these problems. Now, straight to what we need to do as SACCOs to be resilient. We know we will be breached at some point. That's a fact if we haven't been breached yet as SACCOs. Breaches do bring companies down, including SACCOs, banks, and all that. We have seen that. We have seen breaches causing litigation, people being taken to court, companies being taken to court because customers' data has been breached and my data has been used for purposes that are not supposed to be. We have seen businesses being fined heftily because of not being compliant. So how can we help The first thing is change of mindset, because businesses are about people, SACCOs are about people, and more interestingly, SACCOs are built by people, groups of people. So if we are not able to change that mindset, then we will not be able to secure ourselves. We will not be able to be resilient because the world is changing. The business environment cannot change, and the business players' minds keep static. We will not survive. Change of mindset includes accepting to be trained, accepting that there are changes that are happening and we need to change the way we do things, accepting that if 10 years ago there was nothing to do with cybersecurity at the board level, today it might be the only thing being discussed at a board level. You need to modernize. So a lot of businesses are still running manual processes. Okay, maybe they work, maybe they don't work. But let's look at things like compliance. As a SACCO, are you able to be compliant to SASRA if all your records are manual? I believe not. Are you compliant to Data Protection Act or GDPR if your records are manual, if you've not automated? You will not be compliant. So it's about being compliant, it's about building resilience, it's about running your businesses properly. You need to identify your critical data. You cannot protect what you do not have. And processes like audits, processes like penetration testing and vulnerability assessments will help you do these things. Identify key people, key resources. A lot of time people ignore the fact that you could have one person who knows how to maybe fix your database. If this person is not available, what does it mean? It means your users, your clients, your members are not able to access their money, for example. If the system is down, this person is not available, it is as bad as someone losing their lives because they're expecting an emergency loan from a SACCO, but they cannot get it dispensed, and someone is waiting at a theater. That is how critical it is. You also need to anticipate breach. All right? So these breaches will happen. We have seen they will happen. So these breaches will cause business disruptions. Do you have a plan? Do you have a business continuity plan? Do you have a disaster recovery plan that anticipates a breach? You need to build and deploy a protection mechanism. If you identify your critical infrastructure, how do you make sure that it is protected? You must appreciate the complexity of digital systems. They are not simple. So nobody should come and tell you these systems are simple. Once you appreciate that, then you will be able to prepare and do what you need to do. Infusing cyber resilience in all business operations. Now, this is not only cybersecurity, or it's not only in the systems, it's about people. If Ian is the only person who can get me off stage and is not there, then you need to know that I can stay on the stage for the whole day. So we need to get someone else who can do the same thing. We need to get redundancy for people and functions. Create and maintain visibility. A lot of time, we even don't know where our assets are, how our assets are being used. So what happens there is we cannot protect what we cannot see, what we do not know. So we must have visibility. Build, maintain, and test business continuity plans. This is about, for example, if you're not able to access your office today, are you still going to be able to serve your customers? If something happens and Kenya is in a situation that it has never been, will your business continue to happen? If you've been breached and your systems have been locked down, are you able to recover from that? That is what business continuity plan means. Engage a technology service provider. You are a SACCO, you take care of money and you grow the money. Technology service providers do technology work, engage them, they will support you, they will help you. And just to finish this, in terms of engaging a technology service provider, this is what you get. You're able to control your costs, right? We've seen you will use what you need when you need it. You will stay focused. Your IT manager will look at adding value to your internal processes, to your clients, as opposed to sitting and looking at screens and doing things that do not add value to you. You will reduce your risk. Right now, if you go in and someone asks you, what do you think is the most critical piece of data that you have? Maybe you don't know, maybe you know. So engaging experienced managed service providers basically helps you reduce the risk. We will look at your systems, we will monitor them, we will use the experience that we have to be able to protect you. You will increase your efficiency. If today you take 1 hour to process dividends, if your IT manager sits and thinks through that process, then they should be able, or they can be able to innovate and basically reduce that time. So you're bringing efficiencies in your organization because you're using your resources better. And at Liquid Intelligent Technologies, we are able to support you across board. We have the experience, we have the expertise, and we have the people. Thank you very much.
Right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Richard, Muthua, and also thank you for being resilient when we were just having a small technical hitch. We appreciate you and the Liquid Intelligence team. Asante sana. Fantastic. So we want to go into a panel discussion, and this panel is actually loaded with leaders within the SACCO industry. Stand to the person seated next to you and tell them it's loaded with the leaders. We have the likes of Sami Nyambu, the likes of good friend Tony Mutero here, and we're looking forward to this particular discussion where we are going to discuss about where are the digital opportunities for SACCOs. All right, and at this point, I would like to invite the moderator who has over 9 years experience when it comes to client management. She's actually very, very skilled when it comes to retaining and growing a portfolio of key accounts, maintaining good communication and relations between Liquid Technologies and its clients. And one of the key focus that she has is revenue growth. She is currently the client executive East Africa at Liquid Intelligent Technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, help me appreciate with a warm round of applause Teresia Mwangi as she comes gracefully to moderate this particular session. I'll hand it over to her so that she can be able to invite the rest of the panel. Thank you so much, and karibu.
Thank you, Ian. This is where you earn some bonga points.
Oh yeah, my apologies, my
Please.
apologies. Yes.
Thank you very much.
We had, I was saving the best for last. All right, please,
Thank
if I may. Welcome, Teresia, and we want to also want to acknowledge and appreciate our online audience. Thank you for being engaged with us. We are going to definitely interact with you on the online platform. So thank you so much, and karibu sana, Teresia.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I'm not too sure there's the energy we are looking for in this corner. Hi, this corner. Hi. Excellent. And how are you guys? I see a lot of liquid smiley faces. This is fantastic. Good to see you. And I guess today the conversation and the focus is around SACCOs. So today we shall focus on you. And the reason why we are focusing on you is because of the importance, the relevance you have in the current socio-economic spectrum, and really the impactful journey you have had as SACCOs. And if you look at SACCOs as we know them really, I was actually looking and seated with someone there, and I remember we guys carrying forms, just to walk to a branch in a SACCO, and you'd have guarantors, for example, and then you fill the forms. A month later, they call you and tell you there's something you didn't fill properly. You go back to the branch, and you can imagine, The other day I was telling someone, my SACCO called me and told me dividends are out. How about that? So it goes to tell you that transfer conversations have actually already happened. They are happening. But now today, me and my panelists will be unpacking, other than what SACCOs have done currently, what else, and what is there on the table that we can then discuss from a SACCO perspective to then ensure we enhance, we augment what we have already done, and we have, then improved experience Because from where I sit and as a user, a super user of SACCO services, it's the experience that then sticks with us. Now, without further ado, I shall quickly bring on the podium my panelists. Please allow me to bring in Tony Mutero. Tony Mutero is the GM, Kenya National Police SACCO. And please allow me to include national. They have just included national in their name. Karibu sana Bwana Mutero. The second panelist is Sami Nyambu. Sami Nyambu is the CIO for Mwalimu National SACCO. Tony, I'm not too sure where the national motivation came from, but we shall discuss. Karibu sana Bwana Nyambu. Our next panelist, Brian Nyakeri. Brian Nyakeri is formerly the Client Technical Director at IBM and currently running as an independent consultant. Karibu sana Brian. And up next we have Stephen Machuke. He is the CEO, DevOps Foundry Cloud Solutions. Karibu sana Stephen. And last but not least, we have Mr. Mcharo, who will be joining us virtually. Mr. Mcharo, I don't know if you can hear us. Please say hello if you can hear us, Mr. Mcharo. All right. So we shall fix that as we go along. Gentlemen, karibuni sana. I'm actually glad I'm seated here because then we are fixing the gender equality, discussion. So karibuni sana. Now, somebody asked, do we have SACCO loans? I guess me and the people we were seated together we were looking at each other like, I guess we are victims, aren't we? So really it goes to tell you that the reasons why these conversations must be had is because SACCOs have then impacted all of us, or most of us, if not all of us. And so then I'm excited to then begin this conversation. And I want to throw a question first, yeah? So if you look at digital or digitization or digital transformation, it's such a broad conversation, right? It has quite a number of areas that need to be discussed. Now, could I please begin with you, Brian, so that then you break down, demystify these buzzword that is, has taken a whole turn, has been discussed, and especially, so what exactly are we looking at when you talk about digital transformation in the SACCO space?
Thank you, Terry. Good morning to everyone. Before I actually do that, other than having a SACCO loan, I think I remember you should also put up your hand for those who have been taken to CRB for not paying their SACCO loans. All those who have that, please sit down. I guess we all have been taken there. Anyway, that's on a light note. I guess this is a very important discussion, especially the fact that you are saying that SACCOs have really made this immense contribution in terms of the financial sector as a whole, not only in Kenya, but in Africa. And generally, when you look at digital transformation, I think, in every industry, every, technology player, it has been a buzzword. But how do we actualize digital transformation and what is it exactly? So digital transformation is just about how do we use technology to better serve our customers, to be able to change the business models that we existently have today, to be able to give our customers a better experience, to be able to drive efficiencies, and generally to be able to grow the business as a whole. So if you look at today how businesses are structured, in technology, and the biggest problem we have today in technology is that when we look at digital transformation, for most of us, we look at technology, its capabilities, speeds and feeds, and that is where we are unable to get a seat at the table. At where executives are concerned, is because I think for executives and for the business as a whole, because rightly so, Kelly mentioned earlier, this is not only a role for the CIO, it spans beyond the CIO. So if you look at digital transformation, I think it's about what is the benefit that, or the value that businesses are looking to do. And I was currently noting them when people are discussing, but it's to look at things like enhancing customer experience, making sure we have operational agility in what we do as a day-to-day, as our day-to-day engagement. We also look at basically changing the culture of how we do things, the processes that we run in our businesses. I mean, I think Richard talked about it earlier, was it John? Look at how businesses have transformed from Kodak, Uber, all these different types of players. And of course, at the end of the day, we also need to look at workforce enablement. How can we as players in companies be able to better serve the customers outside there? And finally, as I conclude, because I know this time is of the essence, digital transformation also has different pillars or different tenets, and we need to look at digital transformation in that way when we're moving forward, because when you look at digital transformation, there are different types. Generally, at the end of the day, you can look at business model transformation. How do I change my business model of how I deliver value, products and services? There's process transformation. How do I change my processes to do things much more better, much more efficiently, and in an optimized fashion that delivers value for the business as a whole? And of course, looking at domain transformation. Can I move from what I'm doing today? Look at people like Safaricom. They were telco. They're now going into financial services. They'll be soon going into, I don't even know, maybe the military or national security. I have no clue. But generally what I'm saying is we need to look at those areas or domains as a new area for growth. And finally, of course, it's cultural transformation. Changing that mindset of how we look at business, how technology serves us, and the value we deliver.
You make an interesting point, yeah, and especially around cultural and mind shifts and all. But the question I ask myself is, and maybe I would want to speak to Sami, from where you sit and having sat in the SACCO, maybe from the physical forms to the state that you are in currently, are we moving? Have we moved as a SACCO? Have we leveraged? Are we having those discussions to then, continue leveraging on all this tech stuff that is being talked around across the spectrum?
Thanks, Terry. Basically, and we alluded to this in one of the sessions this morning. And from where I sit, looking basically as to the journeys SACCOs are traveling or walking through in terms of digital transformation, there's been quite some good traction. Good traction specifically from what I would call the supply side, where solution vendors have actually responded to develop or to come up with solutions that are fit for the sector. This was quite a big challenge initially, where as a sector, basically, you'd wish to reach out to get solutions to pertinent business challenges, but there was no choice. There was no space where you had solutions that were specifically speaking to the SACCO sector. This, I would say, where I sit, there's quite some good progression, good progress. Today we have quite strong partners who have come into the space, who basically come with solutions around the space. And that's what basically I was saying in the morning, the gap is kind of getting bridged. But then, how then do we now, speaking inside as SACCOs, prepare or get ready for that kind of happening from the market players? How do we as SACCOs position ourselves to partner, to work with these vendors who are actually working towards getting solutions for us? How do we address the issue of culture, as Brian has actually put it up, to create a conducive environment that basically that technology discussion can be leveraged on, and it can basically be able to see the fruits of it? How do we become agile and flexible enough to interrogate our business models as SACCOs that have worked for us over years, to be able to ride on these kind of technologies that are coming through. So at the end of it all, basically, it becomes a whole, how do I call it, a holistic discussion that basically brings to the table all stakeholders, be the solution vendors, be it the internal SACCO organization, to be able to then start seeing the benefits of this particular discussion.
Yeah, excellent. And as we transition into the growth and the milestones and the strides we have made, or you and especially the leaders of the SACCO sector have made, the question I ask myself is, are we translating technology as it is to all the stakeholders to then translate that into value? Because if you look, for me, from where I sit, I feel like we, say for example, a CEO, right? We don't want to talk to a CEO about technology. We want to talk to that CEO about the value that it'll bring to his business, his end users, his customers, agility, operational cost, and all. Now, Mr. Mutero, maybe my next question would be, are we as stakeholders, and when I say as stakeholders, I mean the CIOs, the IT managers, the service providers, the partners, are we articulating this value well enough to then engage all stakeholders, the boards, for example, the CEOs, to then become an enabler of these movements?
Yes, thank you so much, Terry. I would say we have moved from where we used to be, where we used not to have conversations about technology with the board and all stakeholders around us. And we've realized that technology is an enabler. Technology used to be taken as a cost center, but right now it's an investment, and that is being realized more and more. So what I'll say is that even when we are actually doing documents that we never used to do, like benefits realization strategies, a new technology, or bringing in something new that is technical in nature, you have evidence to show the stakeholders this is what it will do. It is a value add. It is not really a cost, it's an investment. So I'd say we've come a long way, and we are going even further, and we are also seeing the modernization. Out there, technology is embraced. People are using Safaricom services, M-Pesa, so we are also challenged, and we are giving members almost similar services. Thank you.
All right, my directors tell me there's a comment. I don't know if I can see it, but I shall. Oh, yes, I see this. Is it just, so panelists, we have a question from one of our viewers. Is this just about how we use tech to better the experience of our clients? Who wants to take that? Is it just the tech itself that then changes the SACCOs or members of SACCOs user experience? Do you want to take that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me start by saying, hii safari imekuwa refu, lakini ni mzuri na ngumu. Sorry, I'm using Kiswahili because when you go to a typical SACCO, the board is not essentially at the top level. They make a lot of decisions. Even 100K Kenya shillings recurring will need the board to approve. So essentially, and the board members are selected by the delegates from the members. So you'll find they're not really in the advanced stages of understanding technology. So when we get into now, how do we enable the SACCO to adopt these technologies? One disclaimer, we need to stop using the word customer. We need to start using the word member in every of our conversations, because that's what it's all about within a SACCO. So currently, most of the SACCOs have had a bad taste with technology for one reason or the other. Either it's a migration gone bad, either it's money lost through mobile banking, or it's a branch that rarely works because the connectivity is terrible, or either it's unlimited downtime, or the IT department focusing more on the tech itself than the functions to which the SACCO should be achieving. So in the process of trying to enhance the member experience, there are so many roadblocks in the space, and those have not yet been addressed. One of them being vendors not understanding how a SACCO works. So they bring in this one component that cannot fully work unless the rest of the components are put together. And with that, you're finding that the IT department is creating so many components, struggling to merge in between. So at the end of the day, the member has a terrible experience, not because the organization or the SACCO has not invested, not that they're not interested, but we build component-based technologies. So out of that, now the ripple effect becomes the IT team is not able to focus on value. They just focus on delivering against the technologies that are there. And secondly, we've built, the vendors have not synergized. So my mobile banking is not working. I'm speaking to one person. The core banking process, the loans interest calculation is not working. I'm speaking to another. The ATM Visa is not charging properly. I'm speaking to another. The firewall is not configured properly. I'm speaking to another. So at the end of the day, the IT or the CIO or whoever is in that space has a lot to work with, has a lot of contracts to deal with. So there isn't a way to enhance a member experience unless the IT is synergized and is focused towards value. So for now, there is gaps, there is interest and gaps. So it's about us as vendors and also the SACCOs to figure out how do we synergize, how do we bring in a space that allows all of us to focus on value.
Great. You make an important point, and I see Brian wants to chime in. But before you come in, Brian, the question I want to ask, and maybe we could just hear it from you, Brian, and Mr. Mutero there. Seeing that there's a clear gap around then putting out a guide, some sort of a roadmap, that then needs to be done, and maybe not by the CIO. How and why then, and please allow me to start with Mr. Mutero, are you leveraging on partnerships, for example? Are you leveraging on providers out here who can come in and, study your environment, do some sort of an analysis of what you have, help you create or craft a roadmap that then allows you to, participate in it, not actively, but, in a way that then allows you to also concentrate on your end user and, creating some innovative products for an end user? Are we leveraging on partnerships and providers out here?
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, I would say yes, we are leveraging on partners. Actually, for some SACCOs like us, we've implemented, for example, core banking systems, which never used to be the issue. We used to have other systems that are not core banking to do our business. So with that support from those partners, we've accepted to change the way we used to do things. There was this notion that it has worked, it will always work. Don't bring anything new, fear of the unknown. In fact, when we get a new system, it was trying to put what you have into this new system without being open. So these partners have come in with global knowledge and also other ways of doing things that are better than the way we do. So we've leveraged with partners in all aspects of technology. If it's the core systems, if it's networks, we have that. Security, which is a problem for us, we've done that. So we've been very actively looking for partners to give us solutions because we know the problems. So it's to tell them, this is the problem, help us see how we can achieve, how we can make it better, or how we can deal with it.
Excellent.
As opposed to partners coming and bringing a solution that they think works. So they've learned that, and they're actually coming in with up with a solution.
Excellent.
So I can say we are leveraging.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
As I bring in Brian, somebody told me that if you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail. And at this point then, how I look at SACCO planning, and especially around digitizing, is then involving and being involved in this consultancy, and just a conversation around the current environment, the current trends, the futuristic view of the SACCO space. So, Brian, from where you sit, how can we package this conversation to the CIOs seated here around then engaging in a very, conversational kind of engagement where we study the environment, we plan, we craft a roadmap, and we help, the SACCOs and the CIOs then quickly implement and innovate, whether it's a phased model or, a holistic kind of view.
Thanks, Terry. I think I'll take you back a bit because there's a question you had asked earlier, which I wanted to chime in before I lose the thought process. Mm-hmm. I think the question you had asked is, how does technology really show value to the business, and are we as technologists doing that? As I mentioned earlier, as technologists, we usually have this very big problem of where we're always talking about capabilities, speeds, feeds, things like that. But for any business owner, those are phenomena that they don't care about generally. Mm-hmm. So I guess what we need to do around packaging digital transformation, we need to package some themes that resonate with business, and especially executives, stakeholders, and those kinds of people, shareholders.
Absolutely.
So if you look at the key areas that usually we need to focus on, I think we can let's talk about things like resilience. Is my business able to keep moving on despite disruptions, or even with minimal disruption? Those are the kind of fundamentals we need to be talking to executives about. We need to be talking about cost reduction. How are we able to drive down CapEx, OpEx, and be able to increase revenues, whether it's a revenue of per subscriber or per member or things like that. Mm-hmm. Those are the kind of discussions that we need to link technology with the business. Are we able to automate processes? Are we able to automate and make sure we take out those mundane processes that don't add value to the business, and make sure that people focus on value additional services? Do we have visibility into the business? Are we having insights and data-driven decisions? How are we leveraging our data to be able to deliver insights to the business? And finally, things like risk aversion. With what we are doing, with all these crown jewels, how are we able to ring fence all these crown jewels and make sure there's appropriate governance around all these things that the business is doing to avert any risk? And once you do that, now from a technology perspective, you can be able to link that and say, whether it's for cost reduction, we can bring in cloud and make sure that generally at the end of the day, we can have a platform that's running here and running somewhere else. We don't have to pay for high maintenance costs because we are not making a very massive principal capital investment on the ground. We are using things like chatbots to be able to do a lot of engagements with our customers, have speedy customer experience kind of engagement with our people, and doing things like behavioral analytics. Yeah. What do our customers want? What are we giving them? When we don't do something, what is the repercussion? What is the ripple effect on our business? So when we start doing such kind of conversations of linking the business to technology, it becomes much more easier for the board to be able to give us funding, for them to be able to understand that technology is imperative for the growth of the company, and basically to give us the support that is required to really bring to realization the path of digital transformation. I think the second thing you talked about is, as consultants, what can we really do in terms of collaboration, or how do companies really come up with a plan to be able to deliver something that's tangible for the business? I think if you look at it, as I said, and I think Kelly said it earlier, we do a lot of digitization, not digital transformation, Because today, I think if you ask anyone, do they have a plan? What do they want to do? And as you said, if you plan to fail, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So I think the first thing we need to do is always define value. We need to be able to understand that, what do we want to do? Can we get commitment from the senior management? And what are the targets that we want to achieve? Once you do that, you can be able to now what we call launch and accelerate.
Excellent.
So launch and accelerate is generally about coming up with projects, making sure those are lighthouse projects, and finally adopting those new models that can take us forward.
Yeah, Brian, this is me cutting you short. I'm very afraid of this guy. He's literally manning his space. So for me, the takeout here is that there are success stories already. We still do have gaps. We still do have challenges. We still do have opportunities, right? And all this then can be spoken into through conversations around technologies and services and technology that we can then leverage on to fill those gaps and to then ensure that we are moving as we grow as a SACCO. Now, to wind this up, if there's no question online, I shall ask from the closest person here, what is the takeout? What are we telling the CIO of a SACCO today? What are our next steps? Because every time we have these conversations, I feel like we leave them at some place, at a limbo. What do we need to do? What is our call for action from this session today?
Yes, so for that, I would say we need to create journey maps for them, or they need to create a journey map in the sense that they need to bring in a situational awareness into the play, not grouping yourself with anyone, but understanding where are we, where do we need to go, and creating a journey and mapping it out and understanding what do I really need to do. Some of the things that they can look at is abstracting what is not core, in the sense that outsource non-core functions to an expert partner, so that you can actually focus. The other things is to understand or to differentiate between the technical requirements of digital transformation and the functional requirements. The functional are looking at what exactly does the business want to do, and the technical is looking at what are the underlying factors. So once they are able to do that, they are able to come up with a very good plan that is shareable to the business, to the board.
Excellent.
And that will actually impact
the member.
Thank you.
So plan, leverage on partners such as Liquid and TechMax. These people who are crafting roadmaps around that, and you don't have to invent the wheel when some people else have done it. You just leverage on the maps and the roadmaps they have created, and you jump on it. Next steps. Where are we going from here in a second?
I think I'd like to applaud the CIOs for where they've gotten to, but I think what I need to just say is, let's have a business and IT alignment. Let's make sure we get stakeholder management right. Let's spend time on things that are more strategic to give a quick return on investment and show value. Let's train our people, let's empower them, let's do whatever it takes to make sure we're on the same page, and then gather feedback, use that to grow, and then with that, we'll be able to scale and transform. So I guess that's my takeout, and thank you very much.
Fantastic. Mr. Nyambo, from where you sit, and with the strides you have made, what next?
Basically, I think it's about, and one of the speakers said it this morning, the sector is in a state where if we don't leverage on technology, we perish. There are no two ways about it. So basically, it's about identifying those opportunities that basically we can partner with the right to get technology.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, for me, let's take one-off event. So when we embark on that, let's have a good roadmap. Let's have even digital strategies that can actually lead us to where we want to be. Start with the small steps, then grow into it and not reinvent the wheel. These things have been done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would then thank the panelists. Thank you for the fantastic conversations. We have learned a thing or two, and I believe the CIOs and the stakeholders seated here have picked a thing, and we are looking forward to then continuing these conversations. If you want to get in touch with any of us, with the partners, with consultants, then please go through me. Thank you very much. We shall see you soon. Thank you.
Right, Teresia, I'll ask you to wait for me there.
Oh, yes.
Teresia?
Thank you.
Oh, you have got an assistant?
Yes.
I had actually taken the duty to...
Too little, too late.
All right. Fantastic. Help me appreciate the panel one more time and our fantastic moderator, Teresia, for a job well done. Thank you so much. And now we, ladies and gentlemen, we want to have our tea break. We are far spent on time. This is going to be like a speed date kind of a tea break, all right? You say hi to someone, exchange the business card, move to the next, because we want to be back here in the next 10 minutes, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll kindly request us to all rise to our feet. Let's all rise. Let's all rise. Okay. We have 10 minutes for tea break. Just high five the person who is standing next to you and tell them, tea is on Richard Mutua. Fantastic. All right. See you in 10 minutes. It's exactly noon. We want to be back here at 12:10. Thank you so much, and asante. And also, ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention, as we continue the next session, we have microphones on the aisles. So that will give you an opportunity. If you have a question that is directed towards a particular panel, that is what you can be able to use. All right. Asante sana. Enjoy Richard Mutua's cup of tea. Thank you. 2. All right, check 1, 2. We'd like to welcome the ones who are outside to kindly come in so that we can be able to proceed with the session. And kindly let's just have our seats so that we can proceed. Yeah, let's settle down, settle down. So all settled down because of time. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. For the ones that are outside here, we'd like to just usher you back in. Ladies and gentlemen, please feel free. I know the African custom is to finish the snack in here. All right, so kindly let's walk back in. Fellow delegates, let's kindly walk back in. All right, so kindly let's settle down so that we can be able to proceed. Okay. Okay, for the ones who are outside, please kindly, we're requesting if we can be able to come in. I see you, Jerry. Jerry and your team, kindly let's get back in. Fantastic. I'd like to call my colleague Shiro to come to the podium. Okay. Fantastic. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad to have you here. Make sure, for the ones who have just walked in, Munyi karibu sana. Glad to have you here. All right. So I'd like to kindly request us if we can rise to our feet. Kindly requesting us if we can rise to our feet. Tafadhali, make sure that you have some space around you. Kindly just rise to your feet. All right, fantastic. I can see, make sure that you have some space wherever you are. I can see the quorum is going well. Now make sure that you have some good space around you, and I believe that I am visible to everyone. Now this is what I want you guys to do, all right? In life, you have to push back the pressure, okay? Whatever pressure you're going through, you push it back and enjoy the conference. And this is how I want you to push it back. Like that. Like that. Now, the best way to push is lifting your foot, the heel. If you do it on the right and on the left. On the right and on the left. All right? So this is how you push it back. Push it. Push it. Push it. Push it. All right? Push your problems as you look back. Problems as you look back. Problems as you look back. All right? And then this is how you do it. Then you put your left hand like this, all right? And then you have your right hand, all right? Then your right hand is the one that cuts. There. There. Now, you best do it when you shake your waist a little bit. For the ladies, please, we have very senior people here. Be very careful as you shake your waist. So this is how you do it. First of all, shake your waist, and then you cut. And then you cut. And then you cut. And the thing about dancing is not in the skill, it's in the facial expression. I want to remind you that you are live, all right? Your colleagues are watching you, so you need to make sure that your facial expression, you are enjoying it. Don't look like you're struggling with it, all right? Then finally, we're going to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic. I'm preparing you for your weekend, all right? Mr. Director, it's best done with music, all right? And I've called the best dancer at TX5, all right? Mr. Director, give us that volume. All right? Now I want you to start pushing it down, all right? Push it. Continue pushing. Make sure you look back as you push. Give me that hand. And I want you to cut it. Let's go. Remember the waist, the waist. The waist. The fingers. Cut it. Cut it. Hey. You see the waist moving, cut. Fingers going. Yeah, there you go. Where are you? All right. Give me another one. Another one. Another one. Now we pause. All right, fantastic, fantastic. High five the person standing next to you and tell them you are recording an album soon. Fantastic. Have your seats. You are fantastic dancers, and we are glad to be having you here with us. Welcome back to the Africa Saccotech Forum. And we'd also like to appreciate our online viewers. We are hopeful that you're also dancing wherever you are. If you are in the office dancing, I hope you have the permission of your senior management, but all the same, thank you so much. All right, so our next discussion, we'll be discussing about placing core banking at the center of SACCO recovery. And to take us through this particular session, she is an enthusiast when it comes to fintech solutions, project management, and business development. She is the business development manager for banking solutions at Net Company Intrasoft East Africa. She oversees banking product portfolio in East and Southern Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a lady who has played a key role in addressing and working with financial services sector stakeholders, that includes the SACCOs, to provide banking solutions for the unbanked and underbanked, leveraging on fintech solutions for financial inclusion. And over the last 5 years, she has been active participant in the digitization conversation in the SACCO sector. We're looking forward to having her with us here. She's going to bring a wealth of knowledge and information that can be able to help us to scale up as we walk into this digital transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, help me appreciate with a warm round of applause. This is none other than Rosemary Karachi as she comes to the podium. Help me appreciate her as she comes. Rosemary Karachi, as she comes, placing core banking at the center of SACCO recovery. Karibu sana. Thank you.
That's me. Yeah, it's amazing. His introduction is too, what can I say, too emphasized until I couldn't remember that was me. Good morning. Yeah, my name is Rosemary. Sorry, I forgot the pointer. Yeah, it's a good thing to be here this morning to have this discussion that you've had with most of you in various forums like this one. Yes, I'm going to start by giving us a brief overview of who Net Company Intrasoft is. Somebody here, earlier presenter said change is constant. I'm sure most of you are wondering why Net Company Intrasoft. Just a brief background. We were previously Intrasoft International, and come last year, we joined hands with Net Company, a big ICT firm in Europe, and we became Net Company Intrasoft. So that's the name now. It's not working. Okay. Yeah, so who we are. We are an ICT solutions and services company. We were established in 1996 in Luxembourg, and we have operations in 13 countries now. We have a subsidiary right in Kenya where we sit, so East Africa subsidiary. And key to mention is that we are a key player in the EU. Over the last over 25 years, we've been serving the EU institutions in Europe with various products and services. And we proud ourselves of having a track record of implementations of over 500 sites in different countries, over 70 countries now. We are looking at Africa. In Africa, we are in Kenya, we are in Uganda, we are in Tanzania, we are in Rwanda, we are in Zambia, we are in Ethiopia, and so on. And we continue to focus. So that's our global presence. As I mentioned, we were established in Luxembourg. That's where our head office is. We do have several development centers. Our development center, basically for banking and enterprise solutions, I'll mention that quite later, is in Athens. We also have others to do with public sector solutions that we provide, or the EU solutions that we provide in other countries. We do have offices also in South Africa, and key to mention is that the subsidiary in Kenya has a branch in Zambia. Back in 2019, we opened a subsidiary in Zambia, basically to serve that region. So what's our focus? We have a key focus in the banking and SACCO sector. We have partnered with several SACCOs and banks in the region. And as a subsidiary for East Africa, we also do business development, which is the role I take. We do implementations, support locally, as well as customer relationships and account management. Just to give a brief highlight of who our customers are in the region, we have partnered with, or rather we work with Kenya Police SACCO. We work with Mwalimu National SACCO. We're working with Stima SACCO. We do have banks as well. Housing Finance is our customer in Kenya. We also serve Centenary Bank in Uganda, our key customer. Centenary Bank basically is like the Equity Bank of Uganda, having grown from a microfinance, a big microfinance institution, Catholic-based. Now it's one of the biggest banks in Uganda. We also serve Zambia National Building Society, Mwalimu Bank in Tanzania. And on the public sector side, we are quite strong in terms of social security and customs and compliance. And therefore, we are working with NSSF Kenya. That backend that serves you in NSSF Kenya is a solution by us. We also work with KRA in Kenya in terms of compliance solutions. We work with NSSF Uganda as well. We work with RSSB Rwanda and ZRA in Zambia and so on. Just to go back again to just sort of define or just explain what our key markets are. As I mentioned, we do serve the EU, and basically we don't have that here in Africa. We also serve the public sector, which is most of those customers that I've mentioned, and we do serve the enterprise. And enterprise is where banking falls under. So in enterprise, we're looking at serving the banks, anything financial services, the telecoms. We are quite big in Europe in terms of providing telecom solutions. We work closely with SAP to provide solutions in Europe as well. So all those under enterprise. Okay. Sorry about that. Next slide is not working. Anyway, as we sort out the technology hitch, I will just go on with finalizing on our profile, and so to say that in terms of products in banking, next. Yeah, I did mention about that. Next. Yes, next. Yeah, so focusing on enterprise solutions and banking in specific, we do provide core banking systems, omni-channels, BI solutions, and anything banking, whether through us, our own IP, or through various partnerships that we do have. And I would give an example of a solution that we provided in Zambia. In Zambia, the national payment switch, equivalent to our PesaLink, is provided by us. We partnered with FIS Global for our financial switch. And we've seen that country on board 19 banks on that switch. It's actually quite upscaled in comparing with PesaLink of Kenya, where they do everything on the financial switch. As I mentioned, we do telecoms in Europe. We have analytics, we have IT security, and key to mention is that we have a department for IT security, specific department that also serves the NATO, the EU, and so on. So that's a brief on who we are. Yeah, I'll give a brief highlight on our core banking system as I go to the topic of today. Our core banking system is called Profits Core Banking System. It basically serves the banks, it serves the SACCOs, the microfinance, and it also serves the credit servicing institutions. It's quite, for instance, in Europe, it's quite different that there are credit service institutions that are basically regulated by the regulators just to manage, post-loan management. So what banks do, especially in Greece, once the banks disburse the loans, they just sort of hand over that process to these institutions. They run with it from recovery and so on. So Profits has a version that serves this kind of market. It's not in this country yet, but through the way technology is going, you never know. It may come to a time where maybe banks will outsource this kind of services to providers. And now to the topic of the day. Okay, yeah, we're going to look at the current landscape. What is the current landscape on SACCOs? What is the recovery? I mean, how do we recover from low business performance as SACCOs? And of course, in our mind, we're saying leveraging digital transformation. How do we recover from stiff competition? And the journey. As Tony mentioned, this is basically a journey. Recovery is a journey. It's a journey through digital transformation. And what is the future of banking technology? Let's proceed. Okay, so we are saying the current landscape in the SACCO is disruption has happened. Most of us in this room have adopted technology. You have a core banking system, or we have a system that is basically serving you like a core banking system. And we have moved. We have digitized, we have adopted digital transformation. Most of us have the core banking systems. And we're looking at, we have seen increased efficiency and turnaround time in terms of service delivery to our members as a result of this. We have also seen API architecture adoption. We are seeing, the member is asking to be connected to the whole world. And by the end of the day, to have this delivered to the customer, to have this improved customer experience, we need a strong backbone. And this strong backbone today, we are saying it's a core banking system. The core banking system is a center that will be able to help SACCOs continue with this journey, continue with this transformation journey. You will not be able to open your APIs to the world for your members to experience that super customer experience, or even to have value for the digital solutions that you are going to implement without that strong backbone behind it. We're also looking at the core banking system assisting SACCOs in terms of falling back to their business continuity plans in case of, let's say, disruptions. And this happened quite well during the pandemic. We realized that most of the SACCOs that had strong and robust core banking systems were able to quickly, put things in place and serve their members remotely without having them to visit their branches. This, we're saying, it cannot be. It cannot happen without that strong backbone of a core banking system. Can we go back? And what we are saying is, we have seen, yes, there is transformation. There is improvement from where we are coming from. But one thing we have realized in the sector is some of these deployments have wrong architecture. You may be having a core banking system, but the architecture, the way you have laid it down in terms of serving your members and getting the value that the core banking system brings is not in the right place. This is a discussion and a conversation that we've had with most of the players in the market. And what we are saying is that the best architecture is basically to have this core, the core banking system at the center of everything, then integrated to all other things that you want to do. We've seen where SACCOs are coming from. Everything was in one place. The architecture was, this is the core, this is the mobile banking, this is agency banking, and therefore when any of these solutions go down, so there is basically no service for the members. And we're saying position or place the core banking system with the right architecture. Integrate it to your omni-channels, integrate it to your BIs, integrate it to your CRM, integrate it to whatever that you want to provide to your members. But without that right architecture, then you'll not be able to draw value. And people have talked, the previous speakers have talked about value. It's about value. And therefore, we'll have a situation where if we don't get this value, people will start talking about costs, Core banking systems are expensive, but the deployment, the architecture, the way you position it, it needs to show or to bring out that value to all stakeholders, whether to the board members, to the stakeholders in terms of members, and so on. So that is what we are advocating for, because we have seen there is a gap. Next. Just continue. Next slide. Next. Next slide. Oops. Jumped. Okay, 2.2, yes. Yeah. Sure. Okay, so again, we are saying the journey to recovery from low business performance is going to be, supported by a robust core banking system. It's tough, it's upwards, but then without a strong core banking system, it's going to be a challenge. And we are looking at the value that comes from a core banking systems, for instance, from a NPL management point of view. Post-COVID, majority of the SACCOs have gone through this dip of having a very bad loan book. How do we then recover or correct this book without a strong core banking system that is able to sort of give you functionalities that will enable you to overcome the manual processes of chasing your members and chasing defaulters to be able to recover this kind of loans? So most core banking systems are actually coming with what we call a sniffing functionality. And this functionality we've seen with the partners that we have right now, it's really adding value from a point of view that when a member has defaulted and they have their current account active, anytime there is any inflow in that account, the core banking system will automatically fetch it and repay the loan. This is something that was such a big challenge with the previous deployments that SACCOs are coming from. The staff had to follow this member manually and sort of to block that amount in the account and so on. But this is now a headache that has been moved away from the credit department, and the system, the core banking system, is able to just assist in terms of recovering all these loans. In terms of loan interest management, we've also seen that there has been previous revenue loopholes where the systems were not able to calculate interests on different dates. If I lend you money on the 12th, for instance, I'm only able to calculate the interest at the end of the month. So that interest for all those days within that month up to the end of the month, or SACCOs were not able to recover or to sort of manage it. We've seen this value coming strongly with strong and robust core banking systems, and also in terms of the current demands, where SACCO members are demanding for instant loans. Loan chap. They want a loan anytime they're buying goods and they run out of cash. They want to instantly get a loan from their SACCOs. Without a strong back end, you'll not be able to go through this kind of, be able to offer this kind of a product to your members, because the core banking system is sort of eligibility, credit scoring in seconds, and be able to disburse that loan to the member. So what you're saying is that somebody said, basically without digital transformation, without adopting the right core banking systems, a robust core banking system, then it's going to be a very slow move for SACCOs to recover from low businesses. We've seen also during the pandemic and even after the pandemic, majority of members either lost their businesses and lost their jobs and so on, and therefore they came to a time when they were mass withdrawing. They came to the SACCOs, they withdrew everything they had, whether they had term deposits and everything. And SACCOs are at a point where they need to sort of recover. That's why we are calling it lost deposits. SACCOs are at a point where they need to develop CASA, grow CASA, open current accounts, savings accounts, return that lost deposits. Without, again, we are saying this is going to be a very, very slow process. Having engaged with the sector for some time in my banking life, I realized that majority of the SACCO members are actually multi-banked. They are multi-banked, and the reason they are multi-banked is because the SACCOs they bank with basically do not give everything that they're able to get from the banks. From their banking side, they're able to get term deposits, they're able to get trade finance services, they're able to get treasury services, and so on. And what we are saying, for us to be able to push, to call back this kind of deposits, we need to have a strong, robust core banking system that will basically enable us or put us in a position where we can compete with these banks. If the banks have connected their customers to, say, KRA, they are collecting revenue for KRA. They are collecting revenue for county governments. They are collecting for utility companies. These are deposits, and there is no reason why SACCOs should not attract this kind of deposits if they have a strong core banking system that will then enable them to give these kind of services to their members. You too can be able to get your members, just do, get everything from one-stop shop. They can come in, have current accounts, savings account, pay their utilities, pay their KRAs, and basically also get the kind of attractive term deposits that they can get from the banks, and also do trade finance. I've seen that, yes, in the regulation, probably you're not supposed to do this, but you can be sponsored. I worked in a financial institution where we were sponsoring SACCOs for their SACCO members, basically to purchase things like LC. Because the moment your member leaves your door to go to, say, a commercial bank to get an LC, that commercial bank will ensure they also attract that member to open an account. And we are basically saying, bring in CASA, let there be a retention for your members. Avoid this, sort of idea of having your members being multi-banked, or even moving away from you and moving to the commercial banks, because of solutions that you can basically offer through implementing a robust core banking system that the banks out there have. We're also seeing a lot of, treasury services that the banks are offering. And the SACCOs can actually do the same. You can offer the same basically to have your members, but then this needs to be, they cannot be supported from a manual processes point of view, or from a rigid system that will sort of make you be semi-manual, and it will not be efficient, and then the turnaround time, the customer experience will be different, and then the member will just realize, comparing you and the banks, they're better off with the banks. Let's move. As the pictures there shows, we're saying this is a very competitive environment. We are competing with fintechs, especially in the payment space. We are competing with the MNOs, the mobile network operators. We are competing with banks, and everybody here is running for the same cake. And what we are saying, for the SACCOs to recover from this kind of stiff competition, or rather to stand firm, we need to sort of innovate unique products for your members. Innovate unique products for your members. And this will be powered, again, through a very strong, robust core banking system. We are saying product diversification. If you see your members are being moved because you cannot diversify from the traditional products that you have, diversify, basically, to be able to overcome this kind of competition. Expand the target market. Traditionally, the SACCOs have shied away from banking the millennials. They have shied away from banking the Generation Z. And the banks now, currently, are just going for this customer. It's time that SACCOs also thought of expanding their market. They're expanding their target. These young people, the millennials, are getting very attractive jobs, very good jobs. They are rich, but they need to also be brought into the payment financial system, be taught how to save and how to benefit, basically, from the value that the SACCOs give. We're seeing that, I'll give an example. For instance, in South Africa, there's a bank, I think, called Discovery Bank that basically launched virtual banking. And this bank is targeting the millennials. And there has been sort of a mass migration by the millennials in South Africa from these traditional banks to this bank. And why is this bank doing this? Because they have seen there's a lot of potential in this, in this kind of market. Somebody talked about compliance. It will be a challenge to, against client with your regulator, with GDPR, and with the government, and so on, without a robust core banking system. Let's move. Finishing. We said it's a journey. Recovery is a journey. And we're saying one key thing that we need to do is to adopt a robust core banking system. This will give you, the benefits will be a turnaround time in terms of your service delivery. You'll bring value to your members. You'll increase your efficiency. You'll open your banking to the world, the API, so the members will get more products and so on. We're also saying, as part of a key to also think about is your growth strategy. We need to have transformation, digital transformation as part of your growth strategy, products and services innovation, good policies that will again, best practices coming from the cultural practices that most of the SACCOs have had. This is now behind us. We also need to look at what are the emerging markets. The SACCOs cannot be left behind. And we're saying this is how the future looks like. We are coming to a point where we are going to have mobile and virtual banking. As I mentioned of that bank in South Africa and many others, we are coming to a point where the brick and mortar banking is not going to be relevant. Members are not going to be walking to your branches. They will be served at the comfort of their homes. Everything is going to go digital. Millennials are going to increasingly ask for demand for very specific products. We are looking at emerging technologies like BI, AI, IoT, and blockchain, basically affecting your environment. And you cannot be left behind. You need to change with times, as somebody said. We cannot be left behind. If being left behind means dying, we need to ensure the SACCOs are not left behind. They adopt technology and they move on with it. I think that's it from my side. Thank you so much for your time.
In business, small steps can lead to bigger opportunities that help protect what you've built. And accessing your office network from anywhere enables you to network with people who can take your business to the next level. Because being connected is an advantage. Orders must be processed. Tracked and delivered. So you can move from ambition to success. Feels like Cloud9. And being on the move takes vision. You've got it. So do they. So do we. Because bigger isn't about the size of your business. It's about transforming the way you see growth. Let's help your business be built for bigger with Safaricom Tech Solutions.
Fantastic. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Africa Saccotech Forum 2022. We want to also appreciate our online audience. Thank you for being engaged with us. Thank you, Rosemary Karachi. Help me appreciate Rosemary with a round of applause. Asante sana. I know there's a lot of information that, that was in there. Is your presentation open for circulation? Yes, all right. What I'm seeing most of the people who are doing nowadays is that they're posting the presentation on their LinkedIn profile. So if you're friends with them also on LinkedIn, you can be able just to have a look of the conversation that is there. I hope that will also be applicable with Rosemary, and then we can proceed from there. Fantastic. So now we want to discuss about building a neobank on SACCO infrastructure. And our next speaker is a lady who has had an opportunity to work for some of the biggest globally recognized firms, including Johnson & Johnson, IKEA Group, and Lehman Brothers. She has also served as the co-director at Yale Leadership Institute in New Haven for 2 years, and also served as a manager for special projects, climate and renewables in Essen area, Germany. This is a lady who is well versed when it comes to this particular conversation. She is a co-founder and CEO at Quora Technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, help me appreciate with a warm round of applause. This is the ever so lovely Cynthia Wandia. Makofi tafadhali for Cynthia. Welcome. We're looking forward to this interaction. Thank you so much, and karibu.
Okay. So, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. I'm Cynthia Wandia, co-founder and CEO at Quora. Looking forward to presenting. So far, it seems an Olympic sport to successfully go through the presentation, but we're here for that. A little bit about Quora. So Quora is a startup. We were launched in 2019, specifically providing a digital banking platform for SACCOs. And we've since had the privilege to serve 75 SACCOs so far. We are 60 team members from about now 16 or 17 nationalities. And it's really a privilege for us to be focused and dedicated to the SACCO sector. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the company later, but what we're here also excited about is to speak on the concept of neobanking. And we are one of a few startups in the world that are pioneering the concept of neobanking and especially bringing it to the SACCO sector. So what's a neobank? Simply, a neobank is a financial institution that gives customers a cheaper and digital-first alternative to a traditional bank. So that already, you might wonder, my bank has mobile banking. Does that make it a neobank? There's a couple of things that are similar in terms of the use of technology, but as you'll see, there's a number of aspects that make neobanks particularly unique, which is why they've been able to enjoy exponential growth in the last couple of years. All right. So some of the defining features of a neobank include using technology to personalize services and reduce operational costs. It's not sufficient to simply make it possible for me to transact. Imagine a situation where we both have the same bank account, but I get a notification specific to me, and you get a notification specific to you. Using that personalization at a granular level allows them to generate more and more revenue, and all of that revenue plus the reduced operational costs are passed on to the customers. The second feature is they're able to launch features very quickly. Whereas it might take up to 1 year to install or implement a traditional system, in that span of time, a neobank will have released savings, debit cards,